Tewateweienst, and welcome to another episode of Onkwawen Tewateweienst. Today we will be discussing first of all a clarification from the last lesson. The word that we had used in the last lesson was onkwehonwe'neha, with the English translation of what will you do? However, the correct translation is what will you do there? Because distance plays a big role when you're speaking Ganyakeha. Tuda, would you mind elaborating on what is this concept of distance when you're speaking?
Yeah, you're right. That's how our language works. It depends on the distance and where the person is standing. If you're standing at the other end of the room and I'm asking you, nasa dyan, meaning what are you going to do maybe at Walmart, and I'll use that term, nasa dyan. Now if you're standing next to me and I ask you, nasa dyan, that's because you're close to me. And so that's how our language changes when we're talking. And distance does play a big role. And I'll give you another example of dasa and gasa. I'll say gasa if Kariwagatsu is standing next to me and she's holding something and I need it, and I'll say gasa because she's close. But if she's standing across the room and I need something, and I'll say to her, dasa, bring it to me, because she's further away from me.
Wow, so it really is quite specific when you're speaking to somebody. So the words will always be changing depending on the distance. There's a lot to learn. Another word that we had used within the lesson was leiatonhseratahkwáhtha, with the English translation of we will eat together, which is a definite. However, because it was used in a question, leiatonhseratahkwáhtha should have said we should or ought to eat together. That concludes our clarifications from the last lesson. We'll now move on to this dialogue. Within the dialogue, we used a lot of the words for places within the community, which are important to know so that you can express to someone where you've been or where you're going to go. So let's take a look at some of those words that were used in the dialogue.
Kanatakwé, Kanatakwé, all over town. Tsi Teiontska'hónhkhwa, Tsi Teiontska'hónhkhwa, Tsi Teiontska'hónhkhwa, at the restaurant. leiatonhseratahkwáhtha, 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 at the post office. lehwistaientáhkwa, 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 at the bank. lontenhninòn, lontenhninòn, at the store. Tsi Tewakenónhsote, Tsi Tewakenónhsote, Tsi Tewakenónhsote, at my house.